You are listening to the Billy Dees podcast. We are waiting just a minute for everyone to engage the live stream. Remember, you can find the Billy Dees podcast on your favorite platform.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. We are live Thursday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. With me is Shamaniss. We wait just a minute for the everyone to lock onto the stream. We're on multiple platforms. So we wait just a minute for everybody to lock on, and then we begin the podcast. We record that separately. That will be available on all the podcast platforms sometimes later. Shaman, how are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. I'm feeling good. It's summery out. Yeah, I'm psyched.
Summery, it sure is. It's nice and warm here. Ohio is actually pretty mild. It depends on where you're at.
Yeah.
If you're up by the lake during the wintertime, it can be kind of rough, but I'm well south of that, and Ohio is actually pretty mild. We had a real, I think I only shoveled snow like once or twice last year. So yeah, we've had mild winters here lately, and yeah, it's nice. Summers are really nice here. It's my favorite time of year. We have some nice flowers and other things and things blooming up. So yeah, it's fun. Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll begin the podcast here. Thank you for joining us, and I'll pause just a moment and get right into it. All right. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the program. As always, I am absolutely thrilled that you are here. If you have never checked out the program before, we are primarily an interview and a commentary-based podcast. You can find the Billy Dees podcast pretty much anywhere podcasts are found. And on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, we do go live on multiple platforms, the primary one being X, the former Twitter. With me, the co-host for this 8 o'clock program is Shamaniss. Shaman, how are you?
I am doing amazing, Billy. I'm so happy. It's warm out. Warm weather makes me smile. So yeah, I'm doing great.
Yes. Now you're back in New York now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was a very mild winter, and now it's like ridiculously beautiful, and I'm so happy about that.
Yes. That's awesome. It's been a long time since I've been to New York. I'm going to have to make my way over there one of these days sometime soon. We're going to talk about a lot today. If you're new to the Thursday night programs, we talk a little bit about politics. We are not a partisan show. Okay, so it's not one of those things where we're going to talk about how much we hate the other guy. That's not what this is about. We are objective in our own analysis anyway. And so some people like us when we're on their side and they hate us when we're not. But we're here again. For us, it's not about being on sides.
Right. And both sides are acting pretty stupid. So.
Yes, they are. And then they're always stupid. That's why the founding fathers said no parties.
Right.
No parties for you, but we did it anyway. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on the college campuses. We're going to talk about Biden. We're going to talk about some other things here. The governor of South Dakota. Let's start there. Let's start with the governor of South Dakota.
Okay.
It's here's the story if you haven't heard, and then I'll have you respond to it. In a nutshell, the governor of South Dakota, Kristi Noem, I believe is how you say her name. I could be wrong. She has a book out, and she has been one of the leading names that come up for the Trump vice presidency. Okay. So with that being said, she's had a lot on the line, and that would probably be a good thing for her. And a lot of people were actually kind of excited about that. But in her book, she just describes killing a dog. Now, I got to tell you, in the United States anyway, people like their cats and their dogs. Okay. Yeah. So when you, start talking about killing a dog with a gun, so she's kind of in the doghouse about this. And this is going to be hounding her for a while.
It must be on record somewhere because there's no way she would have put it in a book.
That's what I don't understand. No, it's in the book. Apparently, here's the story. As best I've researched it, I don't know. I can't guarantee that this is the story. But apparently, she had this dog, and she was trying to teach it to hunt. and pheasants or some other kind of crap like that. And it wasn't responding well. And it apparently got kind of nippy with her. And apparently she had stopped on this hunting trip at one of her friend's house, and they raised chickens. And this dog got out and started killing these chickens one after the other. Wasn't eating them or anything. Was just killing one and going to the next one. And of course, these people were upset. So she decided she had enough of this dog. Right. I believe there's a quote in the book that says, I always hated that dog. So she took it into
She's admitting to this kind of thinking.
She took it into a gravel pit, a 14-month-old dog apparently, and shot it dead. And she has this in the book.
Now, she didn't have a choice. There's no way she told that story and had a choice.
Here's the thing. One of the things you don't talk about when you're a politician
is killing animals.
Killing animals.
She's playing God. That's what she admits to. That is playing God. She could have done a million other things with that dog besides killing it.
Yeah, I mean, given up for adoption or whatever. Yeah, go ahead.
She's not taking responsibility for her own shitty training.
Yeah.
I'm glad we found out that she had to shoot the dog that she was responsible for training, because clearly she's not really good at being a leader. That's what I think when I hear that. Sorry, I get pissed off about people killing animals.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people are, like I said, this is going to be hounding her for a while. Sorry about that. But anyway, this it doesn't bode well with the public, because a lot of them said, but you did. There's no bad dogs, just bad dog owners, and all the cliche comments that you can possibly imagine are floating around. People are up in arms about this, and I am an animal lover. Okay, cats and dogs, I've had them both. Very much an animal lover, so I don't condone this at all. But I find it odd that there's this more outrage over this, as some of the politicians have quite literally gotten away with murder.
Oh, I know. There's a really weird story about Joe Scarborough that we have to dig up one day.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I don't know about that, but yeah, we'll have to research that. So anyway,
but I'll have to share a story really quick.
Go ahead.
Because
go right ahead.
Explain why this gets me fiery. When I was young, I really wanted. I grew up in care, so having a pet would have been something really nice for me. And we did get a dog, and I learned to love it, even though it wasn't like it was kind of an unusual dog. My sisters give it a strange name, but I had a neighbor who absolutely despised our dog. And I wrote about this in Memory Mansion. Anyway, she came to get me at the pool one day and had this energy that really freaked me out. And I knew the second I saw her that something really bad had happened. And she had said she claimed that there was an accident. So I went with her to wherever the accident was, which was next to where we lived. And the dog was laying next to her car, and she claimed it had run in front of her car. And when I went up to check the dog, I was a very astute child. I don't think it took a rocket scientist anyway, but when I bent over to look at the dog, I realized it had been shot in the head.
Oh.
And I turned to her and I was like, I said, I know. I mean, I scared this woman 3 shades of white, because she was not expecting me to immediately. And I knew intuitively before I even got to the dog that something stunk. But anyway, so I'm not real respectful of people who kill animals.
No, one of the other things she said to defend herself was that she grew up on a farm and killing animals was, pretty common. But it's not the same. I don't think people understand that domestic animals, cats and dogs in particular, have a genetic lineage that predisposes them for human-like companionship, for human-like traits. And this isn't something you can train them to do. I mean, it's been genetically programmed into them over thousands of years. Dogs more so than cats. And they have human traits. They have traits that enable them to live well with human beings. And that's not the same as swatting a fly. Okay, it's not the same. And
it's a little bit like killing a part of yourself, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think the psychology behind this is fascinating. It wasn't perfect enough for her.
Yeah. A lot of the very harsh critics of the MAGA people are saying that they like cruelty. They like this type of mindset, which I don't necessarily agree with. I know
look at how they are
about
women's rights over their own body autonomy.
Yeah.
They make that all about life. So that's kind of contradictory.
Yeah. I'm going to, I've been saying on this program is Joe Biden. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I cannot believe that Joe Biden is going to be the person running at the top of the Democratic ticket come fall. I simply cannot believe it. And I know we played this clip last week, but I got to play it again. Here's Joe Biden one more time. I got to do this one more time.
Imagine what we can do next. 4 more years. Pause.
4 more years.
Honestly, that
Pause.
when you played that clip last time, it is a riot. I mean, and I'm not making fun. I really try to be so respectful, and I am respectful of but the things are getting legendary now. There's somebody's got to have a reel out there of all these boo-boos.
Yeah. Oh, there's lots of them. And the reason I played that again, because it's funny, but the other thing is that Vivek Ramaswamy, and he says, I believe he did a rap, and he says it's Vivek like cake.
That doesn't surprise me. I like Vivek.
Oh yeah, I like him too. He was on TV the other night. Ain't gonna be Biden. What's your opinion? Here's where a lot of people get confused. They say, well, it's gonna be, then it has to be Kamala. No, that's not true.
No, that's not true.
That's only if he resigns as president. She automatically goes in. But if he is the candidate, so I'm going to finish out my term. Now LBJ did that. LBJ said in 1968, coming up on that election, he just says there's a very famous video of him saying that I shall not accept and I shall not seek my party's nomination. So that meant that now this was before the primaries and all that. So it's a little dicey now. But President Biden could come forward saying I'm remaining as president until my term is over, but I'm not going to run. I'm not going to be the nominee. I don't know how that would get resolved. I really don't. Some people have said it would have to be resolved at the convention, and that's later in summer, and that's kind of late to be doing that. So, what do you honestly feel, Shaman, that he is going to be the nominee? That he's going to be at the top of the ticket?
I go back and forth about this because you've said this several times over the last 4 or 5 months that we've been doing this presidential conversation, and I don't know if they have a choice because of the timeline. I mean, it is already last minute in any kind of election, and yeah, I mean, and I don't think Kamala's the only option. I don't. I mean, it's the obvious one, but in terms of just hierarchy, but
yeah,
I don't know. I don't see anybody in their ranks that even has the brand awareness or the appeal to step into his shoes, and that leaves them in a really. That's why I think they're just going to shove him in there in a coffin and all. And then figure it out later. I don't know. It's kind of like what it seems like to me.
And I'm not personally. I think it's almost elder abuse.
Yes.
As a human being, I don't like to see it happen to him. But just being honest, quite frankly, this is a person that would have to get through the next 5 years.
Yeah.
So we get through the election, through the next term, and then the following January, it'd be 2029.
Yeah.
And
there's a video of him eating, I think, at the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that, and he couldn't eat. I mean, I'm sorry, but
he was playing with his salad or something.
Yeah, he ended up grabbing his trying to go for a roll and use the roll to scoop the food up. But the point is that his dexterity. So let's not even talk about his mental dexterity, which is clearly not there. I mean, when in our history do we have presidents that regularly make verbal fumbles? Never happened.
Yeah.
Even Reagan, at his most ancient in the office wasn't like that. And now his physical dexterity, I've seen him grabbing people's shoulders to maintain his stability. He's fallen so many times.
Yeah, and they're explaining that with arthritis in the spine or something like that. But you're right about Reagan. Now, keep in mind, Reagan left office younger than Joe Biden went in. And I remember his critics there in that last year, a couple times he misspoke or something. Oh, look at that. Nowhere near like we got now. I mean, we have somebody now who's just in la la land. Okay.
It's embarrassing the
Yeah.
country, and it's actually putting us on really weak footing internationally, and
Oh,
again, I have
sure.
mad respect, but I honestly feel like it's elder abuse that, like you said, of the Democrats, who are so desperate to stay in power and so counted on using him for a second term to get in without, seeing what was going on. I think with the closures going on for a couple of years, his state of being, his abilities weren't actually being noticed.
Mhm.
And now it's all kind of caught up with him, and they just don't care, and maybe he's agreeing with them, but I'm not sure if he's in the right facilities to actually be doing that. He needs to be
No.
retired somewhere.
Yeah, I don't wanna go on too much about this, but I will say this, latest polls are not good for Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Trump is leading in most of the major ones, including the swing states. So the ones that you could even hope for are now going towards Trump. I wanna play this clip for you right here. Check this one out.
What's it like seeing so many Republicans in Manhattan, so many Trump supporters in Manhattan? Does that surprise you?
No, not at all. It's turning now. Trump's turn again.
What's your message to Joe Biden?
Fuck you.
And that's
Ow.
yeah, that is I'm I don't have any scientific data on this. And you before have mentioned sometimes you question the polls, but just
Yeah.
in that gauging how you I'm pretty in touch with the community here in Ohio. The added, of course, so Ohio's probably almost always going to go red, but I there's there's a shift, and I can't believe the Democrats aren't noticing. You got you know uh construction workers, which were almost always Democratic
Mhm.
in New York, now going Republican. So I don't know. I think that's that doesn't bode well. Now I
Yeah.
while we're on the subject, RFK Jr. Interesting polling on him this last week. He's obviously a distant third in comparison with Biden and Trump, although he's not as far behind Biden as he is Trump. But if you take either one of the other two out, like if the election were just Kennedy and Biden, he wins hands down.
Oh, I'm
If
not surprised.
Yeah, if the election was just him and Trump, he wins by a narrow margin, but he's still showing. So he's only behind when it's a three-way race because, in his explanation, I was listening to him the other day. This sounds reasonable. When it's a three-way race, he's so stigmatized, I guess, by the spoiler thing that people are afraid to vote for him because they're afraid the guy that they hate worse will get in. So if he can break that, now I believe he got on the ballot in California, which is big. He's on the ballot now, and we talked about this before. He says he's going to get on the ballot on all the states before the election. I don't know about that, but I would say most of them. So the RFK thing is becoming a factor, and I got to tell you, the wild card in this. I've gone into, if you don't know what Twitter Spaces are, or X Spaces now, they're basically audio forums where communities get together and they talk about things, whether it be politics or, they have a mutual interest or social causes or whatever. I've gone into a few about the RFK ones. And I actually have a lot of fans of the show that are in those spaces as well. And when I mentioned the fact that Biden could not possibly be there, then this would change everything. Every poll that's out there now would be thrown on its end, depending on what the Democrats do. And I know everybody tells me I'm crazy, but if they put a moderate in there, they get like a Tulsi Gabbard in there, and all bets are off in terms of what's going to happen this fall. So and I've got everybody saying me crazy that's an impossibility, and it might be a distant possibility. But my point is, anybody other than Biden who's got a pulse and who has any type of a political savvy could be a real problem, because what's really helping Trump now is the anti-Biden vote.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's what's helping him.
And I think too, it's not just anti-Biden, it's anti-corporatocracy. It's the corporate America who's screwing just about everybody now, because there's not that, there's a small percentage of the world, the country that's super rich or not affected by the massive price increases, but people are angry, and young people are angry, and young people, especially young men, are moving towards the Republican Party, which
Yep.
if you'd asked me 2 years ago, I would have been like, with things pendulum, but it's happening at a much more rapid rate, and the media is not helping with its constant berating of Donald Trump as a candidate and trying to
Yeah.
bury him as a candidate. It's so obvious that they're actually his best tool.
Yeah. His whole shtick is everybody hates me. They're keeping me out because I'm going to drain the swamp, and they play right into that narrative.
Yeah,
And
by behaving like a swamp.
Yeah, we did this whole I did a whole segment about the hush money thing and why so I won't go through it again, but on a podcast here, one of our last episodes, I kind of went through some of the particulars of that and how ridiculous this is in comparison with what other presidents have done and gotten away with. That involves taxpayer money, that it involves the lives of people. And for this to be the first criminal trial of a former president, and to have it be for a consenting sex worker who being paid hush money is absolutely ridiculous. Okay.
Yeah, and I have to just say one thing, but you're not hearing anything in the media about the fact that one of the man who pushed that deal through to ban TikTok,
Yeah.
he spent $750,000 in a few weeks right on Facebook stock.
Yeah.
In his
Facebook
wife
stock,
and child's name, apparently. How is he not being prosecuted for? I mean, Martha Stewart went to prison for that crap. How are our politicians able to do that? I simply will never understand how that's even legal.
I don't think if you're a member of Congress that you should be allowed to invest in the stock market.
Yeah.
Because it's saying that it's insider trading doesn't even cover it, because you're affecting the results. It's one thing to know what's going on inside. It's another thing to be pushing the levers. So yeah, I'm in total agreement with you on that. Drew Barrymore. and if you don't know the history of the Barrymores, I mean, how did she get
fascinating?
That job? Yeah, how did she get that job of being a celebrity?
She was a great child actress, I will say. I remember her when she first came out. She was a powerhouse. But she's sort of raised in, she has her great grandfather was a very famous actor.
Oh, yeah.
And it's in the family. But she's proved herself. And I hate nepotism, I really do, because I've seen what it's done to society and how much of the opportunities are sucked up by people who already have everything in terms of financial security. The ability to make many dreams come true. But anyway, Drew Barrymore, when she came out, I remember she was a great actress and she proved herself immediately. And of course, then started acting like an adult because it's what they were treating her like. So she's kind of part of that whole Oprah Winfrey cult of personality. Admit all your flaws to keep yourself out there.
I don't mind them being talented and all these other things, and give them all the credit. But let's be honest here. She was born rounding third base. She didn't even have to go to bat.
Oh no, okay. She stepped into that opportunity.
And as long as they acknowledge that, that's fine. But anyway, she was talking to Kamala, and she says,
"This is so cringe."
She says to Kamala, our country is so bad right now, and what we need a mother. We need a mamala.
Oh God, such an ass kissing statement.
Let me ask you, Shaman, is Mamala Kamala who you're voting for?
No, and honestly, that's the last person I think of when I think of motherly.
So yeah, we need our mamala. I took that quote. Okay, I got a video here I got a clip. I took that quote, just that quote, and I paired it up with another video of how that makes most people feel, myself included, when they hear that quote. Here we go.
We need you to be mamala of the country.
Oh my gosh. What do I do?
Yes. We need you to be mamala of the country.
Yeah.
Now, isn't that now? I got you. You know, we were talking about you've mentioned this before, this celebrity culture bullshit.
Mhm.
There was a time when people would just fawn over that. You know, 20 years ago, if Oprah Winfrey would have done that, there'd have been all these women in the audience with their books under their chair. Oh, mama. And we're finally waking up and we're saying this is some bullshit.
Oh yeah, the American people don't have tolerance for any of this crap anymore. They were like calling people out on all their BS, and the celebrity culture is really fracturing.
Yeah,
There's a lot of desperate. I'm seeing a lot of desperate behavior, and as much as I've liked Drew Barrymore for a very long time.
Yeah.
But there, the behaviors of a lot of people are a whiff of desperation.
Yeah. I'm going to touch on a little bit on the college campuses. Now I know I'm going to go out on a limb here. Let me gauge you on this. You're a little bit more empathetic to some of these protests on college campuses than I am.
I'm actually more empathetic to the rights to do things than I am to the behaviors or the choices or the way people speak about certain things. It's like being an absolutist about freedom of speech. I'm very absolutist about the rights for people to have an opinion, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
You should have to be able to hear it.
I am a free speech absolutist. Absolutely. And I do believe that hate speech in and of and by itself is protected by the First Amendment. I think we need to hear assholes.
Yeah.
I don't think you want them underground. I think that you need to hear assholes, and I'm all for that. But here's where I differ. What's going on in a lot of these cases, and a lot of them are bad actors. A lot of these people have been put up with it. There's a lot of adults in these crowds.
There's a lot of weird suspicious stuff going on that really
college
reeks
students
of
are
organization and provocation.
Yeah,
there's other stuff going on. It happened too quickly and too organized, and too many similarities between equipment on different campuses. I smell a rat in that regard.
I would agree with you on that. There's a lot of adults who are as old as the hills on these college campuses. Now, college kids are adults technically, but I'm talking like adults, like my age and older.
Yeah,
okay.
Boomers and Gen
breaking windows and all this. Okay, and that's where when you're breaking windows, when you're intimidating people, when you make them afraid to go to class, that's not free speech.
No, it's not. That's just violence.
And I think a lot of the college kids who are involved in this have been caught up in the thing of the day. This is a thing to do. And a good example of this is this clip I'm about to play. They went to these young folks and they asked them why they're protesting. And this went viral here because she couldn't answer. Now to her credit, I will say this for her. She didn't get shitty with the person asking her question. She was honest about the fact that she didn't try to hide it. She was honest about the fact that she didn't know while she was here. She didn't get shitty. And because of the fact that she was honest about it, I don't think that she should be, touted out as an idiot. Because I think what happened, if you listen to this young girl, this is clearly somebody who's got a lot of youthful enthusiasm, who wants to make a difference in the world, and she's
lack of experience,
and she's
boredom.
She's getting caught up in this bullshit.
Yeah.
And what strikes me funny about this clip is she asks her friend, why do we hear? What's the deal with NYU?
Wow. You know what they are, Billy? I swear this is going to be what we see when we look back in history. These are social justice influencers.
Yes, absolutely. And a lot of people are blaming TikTok and Instagram for this, because a lot of these kids were, inspired by these videos of these kids just come on down to here and blah, blah. Okay, so anyway, this is great. Take a listen to this.
And what would you say is the main goal with tonight's protest?
I think the goal is just showing our support for Palestine and demanding that NYU stops. I honestly don't know all of what NYU's doing.
Is there something that NYU's doing?
I really don't know. I'm pretty sure they're... Do you know what NYU's doing?
About what?
About Israel. Why are we protesting here?
Palestine will be free. I wish I was more educated.
I'm not either.
Oh.
I came from Columbia. I was there up at Columbia, and we came down. They said NYU students needed our support, so so I came down. I heard there's lots of cops. Some people were saying it was getting dangerous.
Yeah. Okay. So here again, I want to defend her. She was honest. She's also obviously caught up in the youthful excitement. But this is the power of getting aboard something, getting caught up in the cool thing that's on social media at the moment, not knowing the history of things involved. And
who gets on TV for an interview about something they don't actually, by her own admission, she doesn't actually know why she's there. What are you doing interviewing? That makes her not that bright. I mean, I'm not trying to criticize her being cruel, but that's not a bright choice.
Yeah, I just mean because this clip went viral, and there's a lot more protesters that we can be mean about than her, and this one is a perfect example.
You're just a white person. You're a white person. Get up. We don't like white people. Free Palestine.
Okay, that type of obnoxiousness is that's where if you want to throw mean comments at somebody, throw it at somebody who's obnoxious. The young girl before, she was soft spoken. She wasn't getting shitty.
No, she admitted very that sweet, but
she admitted that she didn't. She was honest. So from that aspect, I don't have any bad things to say about her.
No, it just speaks of being a follower and wanting to be wanting that touch of influencer fame for being a social justice warrior, which this day and age is really like an influencer for causes that piss you off because you're actually not self-actualized and you're unhappy in your personal life. Yeah. I'm just going to take a wild leap there that most of the protesters are pissed off about other things.
Yeah. I'm a fan of Megyn Kelly. I don't know if you are.
No, I think she's fabulous. I give her shit every once in a while, but she's fabulous.
And she's on this kick now, kind of like George Carlin. George Carlin made a remark years ago about the pro-life protesters. George Carlin said one time, "Did you ever notice that these people that are out marching for pro-life are people you wouldn't want to fuck anyway?" and she's very much like this. She goes, "Did you notice all these pro-Palestine people are unattractive, unhappy people?" I can't say she's wrong, but anyway, I just think that's amusing. I like her attitude. I like that edge.
She's she's been around so long at this point, and she's been through the ringer that she's stopped caring about staying in that safe niche, and now just says whatever the heck she thinks, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, well,
it's a wonderful feeling when you really stop caring what anybody thinks.
It is a wonderful feeling when you stop caring about what people think. That is absolutely true. Okay, we hit a lot of little topics here today. If you have any ideas, I'm just speaking to the audience now. If you have any ideas, something you would like us to kick around, first of all, Shaman Isis and I are both on X. Shaman is at Shaman Isis, one word. And I'm at Billy Dees. You can tweet us and you criticize whatever, as long as you're respectful. We generally, take in the comments. The outright hate comments, we don't bother with that. Shaman's got a lot going on. And for the video audience, I'm going to put the cover of her magazine on the screen. I really like the cover.
Thank you.
Yes. Because that's
it's my tribute to goddesses in cyberpunk theme. I really wanted to, Shaman Isis. Isis is the Egyptian goddess of healing. So there's pyramids in the backdrop on the cover. It is the Soul Tech magazine's goddess issue, which just hit yesterday. And so I wanted something goddess themed, and I love cyberpunk. So the cover is me in a very space age outfit and with my shaved head and showing you just how amazing a woman in her 50s can be. Now, there's a tad of AI help in there, but these are based on my real photos, so I'm very excited about it.
I got it. Yeah, for those who can't see the cover, it's Soul Tech magazine. She is on the cover. Very revealing neckline, and that's cool. I got to tell you, I went through this, and the images in here are high res and they're stunning. All of the pictures are.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So do check that out. As far as some of the other things you got going on, you still got the podcast, Citizen Journalist. I love that that name. I love that name.
Yeah.
So anything you want to add?
Yeah. Citizen Journalist. I just did an episode with a woman who invented 3D printed vitamins and minerals. I'm going totally blank. It's called Nourished, and she invented these 3D printed supplements that are custom to everybody. So you get your own little rainbow stack that's just for you. And that was really interesting. We talked about processed food in America and what it's doing to the American health. And so Citizen Journalist is great. It just got picked up today in Fox News and People and Entertainment Weekly and Daily Mail. And I was really happy to see that. So Citizen Journalist. And of course, I'm still doing events for my book, Memory Mansion. So a lot going on. And of course, I've got retreats coming up for Shamaniss. So busy. If you want to check out my stuff and see Soul Tech Magazine, go to shamaniss.com and soultech.world. And you can check everything out.
I got to tell you, I don't too often get impressed by links people send me. But when I checked out that magazine, when you get in there, the models that are in there, the images that are in there, high res, you wrote some stuff in there. Very, very impressive shaman.
Thanks, Billy.
Yeah, really cool stuff. Okay. Billy Dees, you can find me, like I said before, on the old Twitter, which is now X, at Billy Dees. In that bio, there's links to my other social media. I'm on most other social media, same name, Billy Dees, or the Billy Dees Podcast, real easy to find. But I got to tell you, the trending real-time aspect of X is definitely, and they support long form content like we're doing right now, which for a long time Twitter did not do. And you look at people like Tucker Carlson and people like that who have been very successful here on X. And we were talking about that. Shaman and I are talking about some things to do as the year starts to roll closer to the election, about some things that we are going to do. It's very hard to ignore X right now, because it's more than just the social media or a microblogging service, which is what Twitter was originally. It's much more than that now. You have the spaces, the audio spaces, which you can do video on now for the host. Those things are coming alive. They're actually places where news is debuting now. You have politicians and all that doing spaces. Elon Musk does them, of course. So there's a lot happening there. I got some great interviews coming up. And over the winter, I did a lot of upgrades to the studio around here. And I do a lot of stuff that doesn't get presented out front. I do a lot of production work and things like that that goes out not under my name. But if you want to check out my website, here again, it's all linked in my link tree. I have a link tree, the Billy Dees link tree, and also on my X account. Shaman, any closing words for today?
Oh, just everybody have an amazing week and have hope. We talk a lot about a lot of these serious issues that are going on, because it's important that we have honest conversations about the things that we're facing so that we can get to solutions. But life is wonderful, and things are not as bad as they seem when we spend so much of our energy focusing on the negative. There are a lot of beautiful things and beautiful people and beautiful acts that go on every single day in the world. So just know that, and keep moving forward.
That's a great message. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Shaman. And for those of you out there listening, thank you so much for listening to the program. The listens keep growing, and we're so grateful that, we have a listenership that enjoys what we're doing. Thank you very much. And we will talk to you again next week.
Thank you for listening to the Billy Dees Podcast. Follow Billy Dees on X, at Billy Dees, for updates about the program.